Welcome to Screen Chat on RioRadio.ca. I'm your host Justin, and with me today we have Eldin and Kenton behind the scenes. Screen Chat is your show all about Marvel movies, DC Comics, Star Wars adaptations, and much, much more. Today I'm really excited for this episode as we got a lot to talk about with the conclusion of Invincible Season 2, some recent Star Wars news, but today we begin with the recent X-Men 97 episode, which was episode 5, the midway point in the series. Sorry, the season so far, I should say. Oh my days, what an episode this was. Probably the best and most impactful episode of the season so far. I was really happy with the first 4, and then I didn't think it could just get better, and it actually did. I think episode 5 was probably peak Marvel animation, if I'm going to be honest. We saw a lot of stuff, and it was probably the most jarring 22 minutes of TV you could ever watch, because you see so many new characters, so many new places, and then kind of gets all ripped away from you. So we'll begin today to discuss, I guess, even though it doesn't really matter, but we did see Genosha, and we did see the X-Men on Genosha. It was a pretty cool nod at the start, because we did see some returning characters that we were familiar with.
It's Genosha.
Is that how I said it?
Genosha is the planet in Star Wars.
Oh, did I say Genosha like Star Wars? So Genosha.
Genosha, which is, just so we're all clear, is supposed to be Krakatoa.
Yeah, it should be Krakatoa.
Changed it, so.
So Genosha. So yeah, when I was watching this episode, I was so confused because I'm like, I feel like it's not Genosha, and I feel like I know of a Genosha, and that's Star Wars, obviously. But thank you, Eldin. But it was pretty cool though, because we saw a lot of mutants, obviously, on Genosha, as it's like the mutant capital of the world, or country. It's actually a country. That's the whole point of the episode, is that it's entering the UN. And so it was pretty cool to see, returning mutants, if you will, that we haven't seen so far. I was pretty hyped when we saw Nightcrawler at the very start of the episode. We see him there with Gambit and Rogue on Genosha, and it was cool because I didn't think he was going to be pulling up in that sort of a fashion. I thought maybe he'd pull up in a fight or pull up to the mansion, but no, he just pulled up on them in the streets of Genosha and was kind of giving them a tour at the start. Eldin and Kent specifically, did you guys enjoy seeing this Nightcrawler appearance?
Totally, yeah. I think we're both
Absolutely.
in agreement. Yeah, he is end all be all, probably one of my favorite mutants. Seeing his weird version in X-Men First Class was interesting, but I loved him in this.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember the only 2 live adaptations were from X2 and X-Men First Class, but I've always been a huge fan of Kurt Wagner. He's one of my favorite X-Men of all time.
Yeah, no, that's good takes from y'all there. I was really excited because that scene in X2, the opening scene, everyone knows it, is so iconic, and I kind of grew up with that movie specifically for X-Men. That was probably the one I watched the most, so I really do like Nightcrawler. With that being said, we also saw the return of, I guess, some more X-Men villains, if you will, because we did see Emma Frost and Sebastian Shaw, who, if you've seen the First Class movies, you know that these aren't necessarily good people in that adaptation. So I was kind of taken back. I was like, oh, it's those guys. But it seems like they're more civil on Genosha. So I think I'm not too familiar, with this version of Sebastian Shaw, but Emma Frost is Emma Frost at the end of the day. So she looks really cool in this animation new adaptation. And we didn't see much of her frost powers. I don't think we saw them, period, in the episode. But we do know what she could do. She could crystallize herself. And then Shaw is kind of like Darwin, but times 10. He can't really die and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the one in the movie is not to be the same as the one in this one. So he was Mr. Sinister's, one of Mr. Sinister's first mutants he experimented on. So he is not impervious, but he doesn't age now. Really smart, really strong, and he also kind of is the president of the Hellfire Club, which is the bad X-Men.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so to give kind of a background now on the plot, so at this point, Rogue and Gambit and Magneto, they've gone to Genosha as they want to add Genosha to the UN. You find out that Madeline Pryor is also on this little council, same with Shaw and Emma Frost, and they want Magneto to join it. And Magneto's like, okay, cool, I'll join it, but the one condition is that Rogue needs to join it with me. And obviously that kind of, poses a conflict with Gambit, and then Rogue finally comes clean and tells Gambit that her and Magneto have that history, which, I kind of feel bad for Gambit. Not much he could really do in that situation, to be honest. So, I'm a Gambit guy, so I was like, that's unfortunate for him. And then they eventually hash it out and they break up. Gambit says we could remain as friends, and that's it. And then he's just, drinking alone at a bar. And I think it was Madeline Pryor pulls up on Gambit. They're just kind of just hashing it out. And then Magneto enters with the UN. So it's with I always forget the girl's name with the glasses, the blonde girl. We don't remember her name. But she pulls up with them. And then Rogue kind of has this like elegant entrance from the sky. Kind of forget that she could fly. Is that always been a thing that Rogue could fly? Yeah, I don't.
If you look at the movies, I never, but I think in almost all the comics and most of X-Men 97, she could always fly.
Okay, yeah.
Part of who she is.
Yeah, that would make sense
guess,
then.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, she's flying in. It was actually a really cool scene. The animation was done right. I think ABBA was playing in the background too. So it was actually pretty fun. And then everything kind of hit the fan. So Madeline Pryor was just outside. I believe it was Madeline Pryor at this point. And she runs into Cable, who we know is Nathan Summers. And she says to him, "Oh my God, your eyes, you made it." And then Cable was just like, they're coming. And then it was just like, "I'm so sorry, Mom," as he kind of teleports away there. So I didn't really know what was going to happen next. And then, wow, a lot of stuff happened. So this is about the midway part of the episode. So the first half is still good because, like I said, we get Genosha, we get the UN, we get Magneto, and then it kind of starts going off. So we get introduced to a raging sentinel. I don't know the exact term. I know.
I think it's called Wild Sentinel.
Wild Sentinel.
Yeah.
Sorry. So kind of like a three-headed beast there of a sentinel, and it just, oh man, this part in the episode. Oh wow, I'm gonna let you guys chime in here. What did you guys think when we saw the sentinel blast come in?
So, in the background, as Cable's talking to Madeline Pryor. First of all, I just want to mention, because Madeline Pryor's met Cable before.
Yep.
But now this Cable is the one with brown eyes instead of whatever color eyes he had before. So she knows this is her Cable, which was great. That's the eye thing. I just wanted.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
And then the whole Wild Sentinel thing was amazing. In the background as he's talking, you can see green explosions, and you're like, oh, okay. You're like, I wonder what that is. It's probably not good. And then the Sentinel blast, and this thing was a monster.
Yeah.
It was insane. And they make a Godzilla reference. I think Gambit's like, there's a Godzilla-sized Sentinel out here, and it's like, okay, sweet. I thought it was a great villain for the episode.
It was a wonderful villain for the episode.
Yeah, because we thought the Sentinels were gone. We thought they were done. But my question is where to come from now.
Exactly.
Is this a future thing? Also, big thing we forgot to mention, the Watcher was in the background.
Oh yeah.
So when you're looking,
Oh my God, he was.
yeah, when you're looking, you can see his head. I thought it was my hat when I was watching it, but it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So then, if that's the case, then maybe this isn't exactly a future thing, but a multiversal thing.
That's what I'm feeling like. It feels like this is because realistically with Cable, since there's two Cables now, right? There's quote unquote Cable who isn't Scott Summers or who is Scott Summers but not is Madeline Pryor's, and there's Cable who is Madeline Pryor's son.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens there, but it was really cool. And now it ties together the entire MCU, the Marvel comic.
I guess the MCM now.
Yeah, MCM. I don't know what you want to call it. Yeah, but now it's all tied together. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it was cool to relay on the Watcher's point too. Is that it kind of it was kind of funny because the Watcher's watching, well, no pun intended, and then stuff starts to go off. So it's kind of like the Watcher is getting his nightly entertainment, watching what was about to unfold, which I thought was pretty funny. And so the Sentinels just attack the mutants, and people are dying left, right, and center. It appears that Madeline Pryor herself dies on screen, and I think I'm
pretty sure she's listed as dead.
I think we got confirmation.
Yeah,
so
but this, I don't want to cut you off, but what made this episode so powerful is they kept introducing new mutants that we hadn't seen. We saw Blob.
Yeah,
Blob was fantastic. We saw Banshee. We saw who else do we see in the council there?
Archangel.
Yeah,
as well.
Archangel. But this is it's also Archangel, which means Apocalypse has already done his Four Horsemen thing.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
We saw, and there's also the whole thing in the background that we're not really mentioning about with Jean Grey and Scott having an issue. Scott's getting a little darker now. He's angry. He's turning into that Scott that isn't the leader of the team. He's more angry. And then we also have Madeline Pryor and Scott have been doing a thing in the back, and then Jean's angry at Scott for that, but then she also kissed Wolverine, and it's this whole thing where you can't have your cake and eat it. But the show director made a comment about how this was kind of tailored towards 9/11, the shooting of that nightclub. I unfortunately don't remember what the name of it is, unfortunately, but it was a very big in the gay scene.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. And I'm trying to remember the name.
Yeah, but and I think it's a big thing.
It was a couple years ago, though, right?
It was, and it was a scary time because it was a safe place, and then this kind of happened. And his whole thing is Genosha is supposed to be a safe place for mutants, and
this happens.
Exactly, and it's pretty bad. And like, we were watching it, and Dan's like, "Oh, who's this guy flying?" And or, I don't know if it was Dan or Justin. They're like, "Oh, it's Banshee." I'm like, "It's not going to matter in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
just keep watching.
Yeah, that was me.
Just keep watching.
was
It'll
like,
be
Lo and
fine."
behold.
Yeah, lo and behold, it didn't matter.
Yeah, for context, like I'm a big Banshee guy because like I really enjoyed the first class like adaptation of X-Men. So like, oh my god, it's Banshee, it's him. And then Alan's like, it's not gonna matter in about 5 minutes. Just keep watching. And yeah, so the Genosha just gets absolutely destroyed. And it was unfortunate too because like the thing about superhero movies and adaptations and shows and whatnot is that you feel like it's so like uncommon to kill off characters, is that like you get taken aback when they do. It makes sense. You got this raging sentinel out of nowhere with no prep time, no expectation of a fight, catch you off guard, and it's like wiping out mutants. And this next fight is gonna kind of hurt to talk about, but Magneto kind of had his christening moment as the savior of Genosha. So when they pull up, he's going all Magneto crazy, and he's like doing his best to fight off the Sentinel. And then that one mutant there with the hat was like, he said to his friends a couple scenes earlier that Magneto,
his name was Leech.
Leech, yeah, I always forget Leech's name. I'm so sorry, Leech. Well, again, doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But Leech was like, Magneto says, "Do not be afraid. Like I don't need to be afraid anymore." And then, oh man, Leech is about to die, and Magneto kind of puts this magnetic force field around him in the scene here, and was like, "Don't be afraid." And then the Sentinel hits them with it, and then just goes, "Omega threat, mutant eliminated." And I was like, oh.
Which also kind of bothers me because Cable, Magneto, Rogue, technically I think Sebastian Shaw, there's a lot of Omega level mutant threats that are here that haven't been eliminated, and it just happened to target Magneto whenever he activated his powers. And then also the big thing is too, another big powerful moment, Magneto's like, "You can't do this. Like this is my place, these are my people." And then the Sentinel blasts him away, and he has this moment where he knocks the Charles Xavier statue onto a group of mutants, and he has this big moment where he flashes back to him during World War II in the internment camps.
Yeah.
And it's comparing the internment camps to what's happening here. It's a very powerful scene.
It is, yeah.
And then Magneto just snaps, and he's like, "That's it. Like, this is not happening." My only thing is, what is a Sentinel made of that Magneto can't just, like...
Yeah,
like, is it not metal?
They're probably going to say, like, in Days of Future Past, it's like some sort of space-age
Plastic?
polymer.
Yeah, or like some kind of like... But, like, I don't know, man. And then I think the train would have punched hard. So we'll see what happens. But it was a very powerful scene. And like, I really wanted him to just pick the Charles Xavier monument up and smash it. I wanted him to use that, but he didn't. So it was kind of like, okay, well.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It was really hard to watch as a fan because obviously you don't want Magneto to die. And then I wanted to get pictures or a video of this, but it's technically graphic. So our boy Gambit, he steps up to the plate to take on the Sentinel. And as he's, he knows it's over. So he's going in, suicide mission, and he gets like stabbed right through the chest. And it was like, oh. And so at that point, it's looking like it's over for Gambit. And he then activates his powers, and like through his chest where you see like the piece of metal rod, his like powers connect to that, and it like then blows up. It's a kind of a cool chain reaction the way it like soars through the Sentinel, and then it like blows up the Sentinel in the end. So Gambit gets his like his moment there. Unfortunately, he's probably dead as well. I don't think. Oh no, he's not. Is he?
Pietro Maximoff.
He's dead.
Oh, he is dead. Yeah.
He's dead.
He's dead.
And the big thing is too Polaris. Okay, that's good. We're talking about Magneto's children.
Oh yeah.
We were both kind of having a brain fart back here, wondering. Oh yeah, there's Wanda. There's Pietro. Who was the third one again?
It's that girl, right?
Yeah.
The green one, Polaris.
Yeah.
We found out. Anyways, so Gambit's dead.
Yeah, it's done.
Magneto's dead. Rogue has now lost the two people she loved. Mm-hmm. And just one other thing I want to touch on, we saw Savage Land Rogue, where she was like in like the leopard print with the spear,
yes,
which was really cool too. But it's a huge. Oh, I forgot to unplug the lights. My bad. I'll take care of that after this. But yeah, it's a huge thing, man. Like now, like this episode is so heavy for loss. Mm-hmm. Again, we had Banshee, and we didn't have Banshee.
Yeah,
and like we thought we were gonna lose like Sebastian Shaw. We thought we were ending Sebastian, and also if you have to mention Sebastian Shaw, he can absorb kinetic energy.
Yeah.
So he's like Bishop, but Bishop is like all energy, and Sebastian Shaw is just kinetic. So you can't really shoot him, but you can hit him with magic probably. Yeah.
Well, you can hit him with magic. You can hit him with like You can psychic abilities as well
there,
too.
which I don't think works on Bishop. So
that makes sense, because I remember in first class he has the Magneto helmet before it's Magneto's helmet. So yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions of an episode. It was one of those episodes where, you know, even though we're at the halfway mark, I think it's time to kind of put biases aside, nostalgia aside, and I think it's time to really like call this the best animation Marvel's ever done. In terms of quality, action, emotions, character development, voice acting, shock, I can't think of a Marvel project that is better than this in terms of animation. Because I feel like, you know, to me, I'm a big DC guy, and DC's animation is always like top tier. It's got to the point where I'm comparing this to DC stuff and not even Marvel stuff anymore. And for me, I've never really done that with a Marvel animation, like anything, period. Movie, TV show, video game, like doesn't matter. I feel like DC's always beaten Marvel on the animation department. And now that like Marvel finally has something that I could actually put in that conversation, I think for me, it's safe to say that X-Men 97 is the greatest Marvel adaptation of anything, really. I don't know if that's like a hot take, but I know we were talking about that before. I know Kent's gonna chime in here, but yeah, I really and truly think that.
Hot take, significantly better than What If.
Oh, I'm with you on that. And I liked What If, but yeah, this is a lot better. And I think the thing about like What If is such like a safe bet of a show, because at the end of the day it is a what if. But with this, it actually has real ramifications on the X-Men universe, the MCU, the fans, and I feel like, you know, if they did this, but for the Avengers, and they did like an animated kind of thing, it would be amazing. But you can't really do that now because of how much the fans were invested in like the live action Avengers. But now with the animated X-Men, you could go back to that show, which they did, and they just made it so much better. So yeah, for me, I'm putting this in like the S tier of Marvel animation. I hope that's not a hot take, but I think we all are in agreement with that.
Like I think the big thing is too, like we've had a lot of X-Men in the past. But this one's like been tying it together.
Yep.
As a fan, as a Marvel fan, I feel kind of spoiled.
Yep.
Like as much as we get all these characters, all these characters in the background too. If you actually just pause certain frames in Genosha, you will see characters you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And that's wild. There's so many cameos. There's so many things that happen. The whole Forge storyline as well. It's like there's so much going on in every episode. And even like the opening things change. We saw Cable fighting Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And then we got
in the opening
Archangel
scene, yeah.
and Cable.
Yep,
So
it was
like,
amazing.
If you watch the start, like it kind of teases what's going to happen in the episode, and I love that because again, the director treats us like we're intelligent. He doesn't treat us like we need to be spoon-fed. He treats us as if we should know. We're going to notice these cameos. We're going to enjoy it because again, that's what you want from a director.
Well, and the best part about the direction as well too is that they kind of just. It's been like several years since X-Men 97 like originally like went off air, and then they're bringing it back. I'm assuming they realized, all right, the original audience is probably going to come back and watch this. We're going to age it up with our audience.
And it worked.
And because we are an intelligent audience, we'll remember these characters.
Exactly. Or we can also just look them up, like there's wikis for a reason. Like that's the thing, right? Like,
but they do it so well.
It's so nice, and I think again, it really sucks to know that this director is not. I gotta unplug those lights. That is not the. He's not gonna be the director for second season. He already wrote it, so hopefully it goes well. But
Yeah.
Should have been the director for Acolyte.
It's too early to start. It's too early to start.
It's too early for that. But yeah, before we wrap it up here, any like expectations, wants, needs for the second half of the season? I know for me personally, it won't happen, but I really want to see Havoc, Scott's brother. It might now, actually, considering the arc that Scott's kind of going through, but Havoc was always one of my favorite mutants growing up, so I would hope, but I don't think we will.
So what we need to see is so we need to finish Mr. Sinister's storyline. Mojo is good. I think the Mojo episode was cool because I like the Mojo verse.
Yep.
We also get Shatterstar from that, which is kind of cool, which ties into that, but Apocalypse will show up, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Apocalypse has now been mentioned once by Wolverine, and he's been shown now. So with those two things being said, we're probably going to get Apocalypse.
I'm with you.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Hellfire Club. We haven't seen Juggernaut yet. Like, there's a lot of characters that we should see. It'll be interesting to say the least. Anything from you, Ken? What are you expecting? What do you want?
Well, my only thought is that I agree with you when you say that we're probably going to see Apocalypse, but when you say that, my kind of concern is, A, is it going to be like a multiverse thing they're going to try to tie into the MCU, and B, if that's the case, are they also going to introduce Rama Tut, just because I'm a little selfish that way?
Yeah. So what I will say is, though, I think they're going to keep it locked down as an animated universe versus, which I really hope, because then again, it is Disney.
It is Disney.
But then here's the thing. We also saw The Watcher.
Yes.
But
we saw him in the animated, though.
Yeah,
we haven't seen live action.
No, we did. Remember Guardians 2?
We don't count. With always because but we also saw like 4 Watchers talking to Stan Lee.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really count.
Okay,
No,
fair
I
enough.
I don't count that. That was just a fun little cameo.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, overall though, I was really happy with this episode of X-Men, as were the boys in the back. And yeah, honestly, I think second half, this is going to be peak Marvel once again. So that being said, we're going to take a quick music break. Thank you again to Eldin and Kent for the teching behind the scenes for that segment. Could not have done that without y'all. And as usual, we got more Like Saturn, but today we have switched up the songs. Thank you, Eldin, for that. So at the top of the hour, you heard I Don't Mind by Like Saturn. And then now coming up, we're going to play you some music live from the Media Hub on RiotRadio.ca. This is Away from the Storm by Like Saturn, playing us out on Riot Radio. Welcome back to Screen Chat on RiotRadio.ca. I'm your host, Justin, and with me today we have Eldin and Kent behind the scenes. So we were just talking about some X-Men and Marvel there, so shifting gears to Disney's other investment, we have Star Wars. Now, Star Wars has been very rough for us recently, to say the least. At least for what we get in the future, as Acolyte has been taking over our podcast desk and just putting us through it. But a couple days ago, we got the first look at the upcoming video game Star Wars Outlaws, and can't lie, I am really looking forward to this game. Don't know about y'all, but just this poster alone looks really cool. Actually, now that I'm looking at it again, but I'm a sucker for like anything Star Wars when it comes to the video games. I don't really complain about the games that they produce and made. I can't even tell you if I've ever quote hated a Star Wars video game. I think I loved all of them that I've played. And with that being said, now we get a new take. We got Star Wars Outlaws, which follows the more bounty hunter-esque kind of route of Star Wars versus like the Jedis. And yeah, honestly, first looks at this game, we finally got like the story trailer and you saw some gameplay in there. I'm really excited and hopeful. You know, got some action shots there, and it just looks like one of those video games that Star Wars fans should love and appreciate. And if they don't, then we're just not gonna get anything nice ever again. I was a big fan of the Jedi Survivor games, and now that we get this too this year, really excited. So those are my opening thoughts. Eldin and Kent, thoughts after seeing that trailer?
All right, so first of all, my only concern, I'll just start with concerns and I'll go from what I liked. It's Ubisoft. Ubisoft hasn't been incredible in the last couple of years. It's also known as Goobisoft because it's just bad.
Yeah.
I do want to mention though, I'm going to put that last picture back up, which was really cool. So that little axolotl creature, she has a tattoo on her wrist, which is really cool. If you see that little face on her wrist. on her right or left hand. You can see the little axolotl like.
Oh yes,
thing,
I'm looking at the axolotl and not the girl.
Yeah, the axolotl has a tattoo of her.
Yeah,
actually.
that's what I was looking at.
But it's great. Like we have like this is like Empire-esque. We saw Han in Carbonite. We saw Jabba.
Yep.
So we know it's between episode 5 and 6, which is great. Now we know, but do we have a timeline that's locked in? We also got to see. I'm gonna put up the image again too. We got a commando droid. We haven't seen commando droids in a long time. We got a commando droid. We've got the OG Stormtrooper helmets. We've got TIE fighters. We've got the Empire. My one thing I don't like is I'm pretty sure on the right-hand side, that place with all the snow and the mountains, that's from episode 9. That's where Babu lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting, but we also got a casino scene, and if this ties into episode 8, I might just cry.
Oh,
I would also like to share, just because I told Eldon this backstage just now, just a fun little hot take. When this was first announced and I first saw the actual, like, this screen here, the box art for it, for a split second, thought it was the Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, because it looks like it. You can see out.
Like
yeah. But if this teases up for canonically 7, 8, and 9, I'm gonna be upset.
I'm also going to be upset because it's a Ubisoft-esque game,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming means probably more open world. Like, I don't even want to say Assassin's Creed like, because Assassin's Creed hasn't really been Assassin's Creed in a long
maybe?
time.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
It's Star Wars bounty hunting, right?
Yeah. Only time will tell.
yeah. So like I said, I'm kind of a sucker when it comes to these Star Wars video games. I played through the recent Jedi Survivor, because it's not Fallen Survivor, it's just Jedi Survivor. So I enjoyed that game, played with my friend Floyd, shout out to you. And we did enjoy the game. We enjoyed the difficulty of it as well. More often than not, when I'd be playing it, we'd be getting through the missions, and then when Floyd would take his turn, it would tell us we got to change the difficulty. So I thought that was always fun. But with that being said, I do think that this game will pose more of a challenge to the common, I guess, Star Wars fan / gamer, because you're not going to be getting the Force, you're not going to be using no lightsabers. It's a bounty hunter game in the Star Wars universe. So it's more or less just one of those experiences that won't be your traditional. It's kind of like watching Rogue One, if you will. It's not your traditional Star Wars adaptation for what Star Wars really is. And and this is for the casual, by the way, not like, obviously, real Star Wars fans are really familiar with all the bounty hunters and all that stuff, but just for the casuals who pick up this game, it's not going to be what they think. And I feel like that's my only concern and fear, is that it's going to be put on the same pedestal as, like, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Sorry about that. As well as like maybe like a Lego Star Wars kind of game. It's like, it doesn't really compare to those, in my opinion, just based off of the trailer alone. And with that being said, like you won't really be looking forward to seeing guys like, maybe Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. In a game like this, you're looking forward to seeing someone like Boba Fett, who I hope we see. We got the screenshot of him here from Jedi Survivor. Now, automatically just the best bounty hunter in Star Wars history. And if it's a game about bounty hunting, I really hope we see Boba Fett. That's like my only want and need. Surely they do, by the way. I don't think we're going to have a game about this without him.
So I was saying, Kent, at this point, we have Bosk, who's the Trandoshan. He's the lizard guy.
Yep.
We have Zuckuss, who's like this weird little like bug-eyed guy. We have Forlom, Dengar, and Boba, were all the 5 that Darth Vader had on his Star Destroyer.
Yep.
That was saying, hey, go look for Luke. So they're all alive. We also have, like, we've seen Jabba, which means we're going to have a bunch of stuff there, which is awesome. There's so much that can be done with this because it's happening in the golden age of what we got. You might get Luke Skywalker in passing. You might hear about him.
Yep.
You might, again, if I go back to... I'm going to put back to you first, and then we're going to go, oh, look, Justin. Hi, Justin. And then we're going to go back over here. We got TIE fighters. We got X-Wings. We have a Star Destroyer. We have her ship. Like, there's so much just looking right here that ties in. And it's... I think it's going to be more like a... Uncharted.
Oh, I'd be so happy with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. It's like looking at the playthrough, it's looking more like an Uncharted style-esque game where you're going to have, because like, isn't it, so not just say the bounty hunter, it's more like smuggler treasuring as well, because we don't actually see her ever the bounty puck. We see her being hunted. And I also wanted to mention a big thing too that was really integral. We have this guy in like a beautiful robe, and he's talking at the start of the trailer, and we have the Pucks, which are a syndicate. We have what else do we have? The Pucks. We had Crimson Dawn, which was created by Darth Maul, who is dead at this point, unfortunately. but apparently Amelia Clark's character is going to be in it.
Oh, from the Solo movie.
Yep.
Oh,
So-
God, what was her name again? I almost out the ones.
Amelia Clark. We got her.
Yeah, her name's
Anyways.
Amelia Clark. That's all we need to
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Mother Dragon.
Shout out
But we
Amelia.
also we could have Han Solo. You could have Lando. You could
Yep.
have all these characters that are really integral.
Like Frozen Carbonate Han?
Yes, actually, we already had him. Yeah, my bad. I already said that. Who else do we have? Pux, Crimson Dawn, and the other people. Oh, this is gonna kill me. But they were also in Book of Boba Fett. They were the ones that were abusing the Tuskens, and Boba killed.
Oh, right.
We'll look it up.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Justin,
wonder if
tell
we'll
us.
see a Bib Fortuna in this as well. I don't really like Bib Fortuna like that.
Well, if we're at Jabba's palace, you have to.
yeah.
So,
That would
but
be-
it's
yeah,
also like skinny Bib before he got a little power hungry.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I'm looking forward to actually playing this game. Now, Ubisoft recently definitely has not been that good. Now, I might need you guys to come back here. Didn't Ubisoft do The Force Unleashed, or am I getting this confused?
I don't believe so.
Okay, maybe I'm getting this mixed
but
up
like
with-
recently, like Ubisoft has done some big titles like Rainbow Six Siege. They do a lot of like their studios are so broad that they do so much. Like all the Trails games are there, so like they have a very large.
Yeah, they do have a big like discography.
The discography is huge. So it depends on which place. I think Ubisoft Quebec does most of the Assassin's Creed-esque stuff. So
Okay.
we'll see. But I also wouldn't mind that Uncharted-esque thing. Like I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And I feel like, with this Star Wars adaptation, so specifically for me, I did not really enjoy Rogue One. Hot take, I know. Because it's not really like the traditional Star Wars movie. And I feel like such a narc saying that. But I don't know. I didn't like it. But but I did like Andor though. But with that being said, this will be kind of a take on Star Wars as a video game where it's like I need to play it with my own, I guess, gaming skills and like just get better chat moments. And I feel like, for me as a gamer at this age, like, I'm a casual gamer. I don't really play video games anymore, but I'm still going to try and pick this up and enjoy it. I don't think I'll be very good at it though, if I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like I'll be much better with your traditional like Jedi Survivor-esque kind of game versus Star Wars Outlaws. If this came out in my prime, yes, because I really did enjoy Uncharted back in the day. It's one of my favorite gaming franchises ever. Really enjoyed The Last of Us, so I feel like this would have been in my wheelhouse back in like high school. I just don't know if I'm going to be that good at it now, but I'm still going to enjoy it though. That being said, before we move on to the next part of Star Wars.
It's Pikes.
Pike
Syndicate, which
Pike
you've seen
Syndicate.
throughout all of Clone Wars, all of Book of Boba Fett, all that. And I just want to mention another thing as well that we saw. There's a Crate Dragon as well.
Oh, yep, there is.
Which is huge. Crate Dragon, we've seen the skeleton, which was originally just like a throwaway that Lucas had in Episode 4. Then we see a Crate Dragon get killed, or I guess blown up. In Mando, like, it's nice. Like, and also that means Tatooine. Because Crate Dragons aren't
yeah.
anywhere else but Tatooine. So maybe we see Watto.
Tatooine.
Yeah, maybe we see Watto. Maybe we see
Watto.
maybe we see. Yeah, like there's so much we can see. Like, hey, Annie, how you doing?
Oh my days. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next part of this Star Wars discussion here because there's more news now. If you guys have been keeping up with the show, we've mentioned Star Wars: The Bad Batch a couple times on with Eldin, and now we got more Bad Batch content. Now, the recent episode of Bad Batch was titled Juggernaut. It was episode 12, and we're gonna discuss that now. So. This was a big moment here, Eldin. I
why
know
it's Juggernaut.
you're really happy to talk about this. So
Anything with a turbo tank just sells me. It's a turbo tank, man. We haven't seen turbo tanks since Mando. Before that, we hadn't seen this since Clone Wars. I never owned a turbo tank as a kid. I had an AT-ST. I had a AT, whatever, the tank. I had a TIE fighter. I never had a turbo tank. And they had a really good turbo tank that you could it was a big turbo tank. And I never had as a kid. Or as an adult, realistically. They could prime it now, but they're expensive, man. So seeing this was so good. And seeing the turbo tanks going at it. Last time we saw a turbo tank, I'm going to say one more time, turbo tank, because it's so much fun to say. TT. Was Mando and the comedian when they were going to break into that facility to get information. So we saw it in live action. Now we're seeing it again in animated. And this whole scene, this bridge scene is amazing. The rockets, the ramming, the blasters. It was so cool to see. Bad Batch is hit or miss sometimes. I find every episode has some really good stuff in it. Doesn't mean it's a good episode every time, though. Like, I'm happy with it, but I also know that other people aren't happy with it. So it's kind of like give and take. This part, for me, sold me the episode, period.
Yeah, I'm glad you got a chance to talk about it, because I know how passionate you are about the terrible tanks there, Eldin. Now, for me with Bad Batch, I haven't really been keeping up with it, but when Eldin and I were discussing what to speak about today, he did say take a look at that little scene, so I did. It's pretty fire, I can't lie. And it's one of those shows where it's such like not like necessarily a safe bet of a show, but it's kind of hard to not like. That's just my take from what I've seen of the show. Granted, I haven't watched it start to finish, but it seems like one of those shows where if you like Star Wars, I feel like you can't help but enjoy this. But maybe you don't love it. But I feel like it's a safe watch no matter what as a Star Wars fan. And from what I could tell, like season 2 is like better than season 1. And then season 3 is kind of better than season 2. Like I think it just gets better. That's what a lot of fans tell me at least. So I'm happy that it's at least still going strong. I did want to discuss Omega again. I think we have a little flick of her to pull up. Now this was also in the episode, I believe. I don't know who she's with.
Yeah, that's Hemlock. That's the big bad guy. He's the one who's cloning.
Oh, yes, this guy.
But so Omega's been captured now.
Again.
Nala Se's in prison, who was the one who let her out last time. Nala Se is also one of the last. Oh my god.
The Last Jedi?
No.
Oh.
No, her species.
Human?
Really not on the ball today.
We're falling apart here. Anyway, so Omega's been captured.
The last
Nala
Wookiee?
Se's in jail. Huh?
Is it the last Wookiee or?
No.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have a fit. Anyways, so now Omega's been captured. Her blood's tested positive that her blood can be used to make Force-sensitive clones.
Yes, I did read that
and
actually in the article.
3 young Jedi clones. Technically 4 now, actually.
Yep.
There's a baby involved.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's also I think we haven't seen the species before, or we haven't seen it in this capacity yet. So these 4 are all force sensitive, and her blood can be used for it. So this is a big part. And
Yep.
we have 4 more episodes or 3 more episodes left. I think it's 15 episodes, and we're on episode 12. So
Yep.
it's going to wrap up quick. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see the climax of this. Obviously, the thing about the Bad Batch is that it's an animated show on a streaming service, but it does have a lot of huge Star Wars ramifications for the upcoming movies and everything beyond that, such as what Eldin said. You know, you get confirmation that Omega's blood could produce Force sensitive, and
Can't be no one.
can we know it?
That's what. That's
Oh, yeah.
Can't be no one cloners. I'm gonna go sit in the corner for a bit.
It's okay, Eldin. It's 9 a.m, man. It's all good. But with that being said, though, I'm intrigued to see how this plays off. The one thing that we need, man, okay? I'm not trying to go on another rant, but where is Boba Fett? Where is Boba Fett? Because why is he not here? And there's 3 episodes left in the whole entire series.
I hate to say it, man. You're not gonna get him now.
I don't think I'm gonna watch this, because I said in season 1 I will start watching when Boba Fett pulls up. Shout out to Taryn, you know that. And he's just not here. How do you have a show, okay, with all these bounty hunters that make cameos? What was that? I swear, did anyone hear that, or am I tripping?
What?
Anyways, well,
I was hitting on the tail. I was like, "Where is Boba
oh,
Fett?"
that was you. I thought that was someone behind me. That made me jump.
I made a comment saying that like Justin's like J. Jonah Jameson for Boba Fett. Give me pictures of Boba Fett.
Yep.
It's like, where is Boba Fett? So we need Boba Fett. We're probably not getting him, which is unfortunate, which means I will not be watching the show. And I just wanted to hear Tamara Morrison's voice, or maybe even Daniel Logan. I don't know. Just give me something of Boba Fett. So with that being said, oh yeah, go on.
You hear Boba Fett's voice whenever a clone talks.
No, it's not the same, okay? It's not Boba Fett. It's not the simple man making his way through the galaxy like his father before him, okay? We need Boba Fett in some way, shape, or form. And honestly, at this point, bring in Boba, and like he doesn't even need to like do anything that extravagant. Just put him on the screen for like 2 seconds and have him say like, "Hello, mate," and then he could keep it pushing. That's all I want. But with that being said, that was a nice Star Wars discussion. I think we're going to cut it there, and we're going to move on to the next segment. So thank you all again for the input. I'm really excited for what Star Wars is going to be doing in the future. So with that being said, that's going to conclude this segment. So coming up after the music break, we'll be discussing the conclusion of Invincible Season 2. Please don't forget that you could follow us on social media at DCSA Media Hub. We can play some music. Here is Night Fade, live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca. Welcome back to Screen Chat on riotradio.ca. I'm your host Justin, and today we've had Eldin and Kent behind the scenes joining me for a great discussion so far. So we've been discussing various animated projects, and we're going to keep that trend now, but we're going to be moving from Disney to Amazon as the conclusion of Invincible Season 2 happened this past week, and there's a lot to talk about. Now, I kind of got my first taste of Invincible this season, this half of the season, as I've seen a lot of the clips from season 1. I know Sandra Oh's in it, and Eldin shaking his head at me. I love Mark. Mark's good. My brother's name is also Mark. And I was just really happy to finally sit down and watch episodes. It took me long enough. And so I did see most of this finale. Granted, didn't maybe mean as much to me as it did for someone like Eldin or Kent, because he's actually been following the show in the comics. So that being said, let's dive right into it. So one thing automatically about Invincible Season 2 that I did not know is that Sterling K. Brown is in the show. He's that character on the left there who I still don't know his name. I'm sorry about that. But we got his character and Mark kind of been going back and forth the whole season. Guys, so for people that aren't familiar, so who is that character on the left, and what does he kind of do to Mark's life?
Well,
What's he trying to do, at least?
he's certainly a character.
Yep.
That we're not currently looking up the name because we forgot. Anyways, so he has a multiversal power
Yes.
that can let him travel to other multiverses. And in all the I think out of all the multiverses, there are 3 where Mark is good.
Yes.
This is one of them. And the rest of them, he's bad. He sides with his dad. He takes over the Earth. So that being said, all of this is happening. The reason why he looks like that is he made this huge device. He took Angstrom Levy.
Yeah.
Levy.
Angstrom Levy. So
So
Sterling K. Brown is Angstrom Levy.
Angstrom took all of his clones, or not even clones, all of his selves from other universes.
Yeah, his multiversal selves.
Yeah, and put them in a big device. And this device was going to let him and all the brains connect to all these multiverses and find, like, oh, if there's a cure for cancer in one, well, we'll take it and put it in all of them. So now they all have a cure for cancer.
Yep.
If there's a flood that would kill people, well, we'll go and it was supposed to be this big thing.
It was supposed to be like a prevention of any tragedy or natural disasters for his timeline.
Kind of like, well, for every timeline.
Well, I guess yeah, for every timeline.
But the problem is, his timeline was the best because Mark didn't side with his dad. So he also had the Mauler twins. But he took the Mauler twins from all the universes, and the Mauler twins are big villains.
Yes.
Which also were gonna kill Mark. Like they were just there was
Mauler twins are also a recurring sort of side antagonist from the first season as well too.
Yeah.
they never go away.
No, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
They're also just funny.
Yeah. So with that being said, though, they're like the Mauler twins. It's like a 6-on-1 with Mark, and Angstrom Levy's like, I won't build my utopia on blood, and takes the helmet off, and then it blows up the device. We think he's dead, but now all of the brains have been conduced into just him.
Yeah.
And that's why he looks like that.
Yes. Okay.
But now he has also a big self issue because himself, the one from this multiverse, liked Mark.
Oh.
But the one from all the other multiverses
Did not.
hate Mark. Mark has killed his family. He's destroyed the world. He's done all these terrible things. And it's a really big self issue where there's so many angstroms in there, but they're all competing to hate Mark. So he's going to all these different universes and or I guess multiverses, and finding out how to beat Mark. And,
yeah, it's been an interesting concept, because I do enjoy that concept as a villain, to go to different multiverses and figure out just how to beat one man. It kind of reminds me of when the Arrowverse did Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Lex Luthor would go to every planet to try and kill that Superman, or when the Batman Who Laughs would go to the different multiverses to find the most evil Batman. So I feel like that concept as a whole is something that's not really done a lot, and it's not necessarily done amazing every time it is done. Granted, the stuff I just mentioned I think is elite. But with that being said, I do enjoy the whole, I'm a sucker for the multiverse, if I'm gonna be honest. That's probably my biggest cup of tea. And so in
Speaking of Batman,
this one here,
I know I jumped the gun, but you mentioned Batman.
yeah, we have to go into it.
A big funny thing.
This guy Mark meets Batman. That's legit Batman.
Yep.
You get that multiversal crossover, which I thought was the coolest thing, because I'm like, oh my god, it's legit Batman.
Yeah, it's your name is Batman, and you're a man who's a bat. He's like, didn't think about that at all. And this is also while he's being the tar is being beaten out of him by Angstrom. So
Yeah.
he's like, and I just want to click on the next one too, so I can show this. I know we're jumping the gun again.
Oh no,
but
sorry.
we only have
Tell me
7
that's not
minutes.
Spider-Man.
Well, it is. So the thing is, it's Agent Spider.
Yep.
And the whole thing is, he's also fighting Professor Octopus, not Doc Ock. So it's very funny. Or Professor Squid, something, it's like a knockoff. But Agent Spider even talks like Spider-Man.
Yeah, he does.
And the big thing is, too, we've had this whole thing where, like, I think Jack Kirby and the guys from Marvel who created this all kind of had like this knowledge of that they were being used, and they didn't care. They're like, this is cool. It's not our character. It's close enough, but we're okay with it. So you had a Batman crossover, Agent Spider, and I'm going to click on the next multiverse break.
The best one yet. Fortnite.
I cannot believe this.
We got a Fortnite crossover in the Invincible finale. That is like the funniest thing. Like, I saw that and I was dying. I was like, oh my God, he just used his pickaxe.
Well, what better, I guess, multiversal tool than the ultimate multiversal video game series entirely? Like,
I know,
how many characters from different franchises have been in Fortnite now, too?
Well, Invincible's now in it now, too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it so fun.
Yeah.
So I thought this was really good. It was good fan service as well as like good like actual plot development. I thought that, for me at least, as someone who's a casual Invincible person, I did enjoy the gags and the laughs, and I think they're shaking their head at me again for being a casual. But
Filthy casual.
I did really enjoy the episode, and I thought it was something that, you know, if you like Mark, you'll love this episode, because I feel like, well, probably not, because you guys will probably debunk this, but I feel like this is probably one of the best episodes to showcase Mark. Could be wrong.
No, it is a big episode because because in the end he ends up killing Angstrom.
Okay, yes, yep.
And Angstrom's like, my body's been augmented, I'm stronger than you, I can take you. Like, and he keeps saying that he can take Mark, and then Mark snaps.
Yes.
And just destroys Angstrom, and this destroyed. So he's alone on a planet for like 25 years, I think it's supposed to be.
Well, and also, is it the same universe as well?
No, it's a different one, but it's so there's two universe. Oh, actually, yes, technically yes, yeah, because they do time travel. Yeah. So it's the same.
Because like through the whole fight, Angstrom's basically like kicking him through different portals to different realities,
which is like so cool. By the way,
and then in this one, he kicks him into the future of his own reality.
Yeah, which was like, oh my God,
which is really strange. Oh no, it was a different. Yeah, but then like his reality comes and gets him, and then it changes the timeline. But this whole being said is, he snaps, and he's like, now I'm like my father. Like, I'm like my dad. I killed somebody. And like, Mark's never killed anybody at this point as well, too. So it's a big thing for him. We also have a terrible character who also is going to be a big point.
Going forward.
Good old Anissa. But between the two, these two alone, Anissa and Angstrom Levy, set up Mark to grow up in a rough way, but it gets him more worldly, and it's what makes him Mark. And I think it sucks, but again, the whole argument of what you experience makes you who you are, and this happens to be it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's what I mentioned, because we're running out of time, unfortunately. But at the end of the episode, when Alan the alien is talking to Omni-Man, they're talking, and Omni-Man's like, we're gonna break out, and I think I missed my wife, and it's such a big part. Thank you, Justin. Such a big part. So yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, no, it was it was definitely a really good like series and season, and I think with Invincible specifically, you kind of you get put in a bubble where it's like, how good can this be? And I feel like it pops that bubble every day of the week. I feel like you could agree with that. I feel like it just gets better and better from what I could tell. I know the season kind of started off slow, which you could rely on quickly, but I do think that it's one that just, the sky's the limit.
Well, Eldin and I were talking before the show started. We both agree that like the first 4 episodes just kind of felt like filler, which is already silly because the first season was already setting up for stuff. But these episodes were phenomenal. The ending was really good, and the introduction and I guess foreshadowing for Anissa coming is going to be really big for Mark's character.
Exactly.
Which I can't talk about for 2 reasons. 1, spoilers, and 2, it's very graphic.
For sure.
So I'm just going to leave that be where it is, but it's big. It's what I'm going to say. It's huge for his character, and I'm not excited for it, but it's, you know what I'm trying to say. It's
exactly.
It's I don't even know how they're going to do it on TV.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think we're good to wrap it up there. Eldin, don't know if you want any final thoughts now that you're back.
I think I will say, we talked about this before though. I'm really not happy with how the showrunners have done it, where they're like, here's the first 4 episodes, it's kind of lackadaisy. Okay, here's the big 4 episodes, they're really intense. It doesn't, like, don't treat us like that.
Yeah.
Give us, but again, I will say, They did talk about. I love the I love the little. I want to say cameo for the animation where they're like, it takes a lot out of us to do this. So
It was so
understand.
good.
I understand
was,
it.
yeah.
Also, I was going to say
It was so funny.
that Robert Kirkman seems to have this tendency, even in The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
where he would just cut his series in half, make you wait 2 months, and then go, all right, here's the good half.
Which, okay, thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, love you for that. But that's it. I think that's all from us. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure you guys check out that Invincible season 2 finale, because there's also a great scene where Mark encounters Homelander from The Boys, which was also pretty cool. He sees the Seven, so make sure you check that out. But with that being said, I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you for checking out Screen Chat with myself, Eldin, and Kent. Thank you guys behind the scenes. This would not be possible without y'all. And yeah, it's rainy today, unfortunately, so not much to do on this FNF Friday. But shout out to all of y'all that keep up with the show and watch it from home. So really appreciate you guys. So that being said, it's going to do it for me. Thank you once again. And yeah, so don't forget you could follow us on social media at DCSA Media Hub. Going to play some music. Here is More Like Saturn. This is Lost Happiness, live from the Media Hub on RiotRadio.ca.